Hello guys, welcome to my tips at 2. I hope you're all well, and today is the third episode in this mini series, and today we are talking hands. So just a quick recap, what we've done so far. We kicked off with talking about face masks. So again, just a recap, the government want us to wear what they're calling face coverings when we're in situations where we can't socially distance. We're less than 2 meters apart. So it might be public transport, supermarkets, that kind of thing. So you don't need to rush out and buy medical surgical masks. You can make something yourself. And again, there is a link on the government Department of Health website, so you can have a look at that. Or you can just use a scarf, something like that. The whole point is, which I talked about in my first video, have a look back if you haven't seen it, was that once you've got whatever it is in place, then you want to avoid touching the front area as much as you can, because that's where all the moist warmth is that's coming from your breath. And the more you fiddle around here, all the germs on your hands have got a nice route in to the mouth, to the nose. And the other thing is that you need to make sure that you're covering both. So none of this having the covering just, hitched under the nose there. So we talked about masks, face coverings. We talked about gloves, which personally for me, I don't think they add any value, any protection. So it's a bit of a no from me. But you make your own decision on that. As I say, have a look back at the second video if you're interested in my views on wearing gloves whilst you're out and about. Today we're talking hands. So the videos are to help you when you're coming in to see me in clinic, in terms of, being back out there, things that you should and shouldn't be doing. But also I think they just might be useful in kind of this ease of lockdown era, which we hope will stay and progress, but just doing things a little bit different from what we've done previously. So the issue around hands is just that hands are a way of spreading bacteria and viruses, okay? And we as humans are, one of our natural instincts, I would say, is to reach out and touch things. So whether we're shopping, wherever we are, you see babies do it and adults do it too. Your natural instinct, reach out and touch. And the other thing that's been found in various studies is that we also have a habit of touching our faces. And in fact, we do it an incredible 23 times an hour. So that's an awful lot of touching. And again, we do it for all different reasons. A lot of it, I think, is emotionally driven, when we're stressed, when we're happy, when we're shocked, when we're sad. Aside from, the physical things, the sneezing, the itching, the, whatever. So we're touching our faces an awful lot. And on our face, we've got a number of different entry sites to the body, if you like. We've got our eyes, we've got our nose, and we've got our mouth. So these are entry points whereby bacteria and viruses can enter. So what we need to do now when we're out and about in the world is limit our touching. So just being mindful of what you do when you're out and about, just thinking about things a bit more that we've never done before, but not trying to kind of temper that urge to reach out and touch the fabrics, feel things, touch things. When we're out in the supermarket, if you've got a list of what you need, that's really helpful. So again, you're not picking things up, mulling it over, having a look, shall I, shan't I? Oh, I think I'll put it back. Try and be decisive, try and know what you're getting, so that you're just minimising your touching. Whenever you arrive at your destination, the first thing you want to do is wash your hands, okay? So washing hands is to help minimise your risk of moving viruses and bacteria around. We're always talking about minimising. We're never going to eradicate risk. Always going to be an element of risk, no matter how careful we are. Hand washing, doesn't matter whether it's hot or cold water, both are equally effective. Doesn't matter whether you use a bar of soap or liquid soap. There are studies that show bars of soap will harbour bacteria on them, and there are studies to show that that's not true. So make your own decision on that one. Neither is wrong. You are going to spend, you all know this by now, but 20 seconds washing your hands, sing whatever song you want to sing whilst you're washing your hands. The most missed area when you're washing your hands are the fingertips, the thumbs, and the skin in between the fingers. So just be really mindful of those to incorporate them into your hand washing when you're doing that. And the other thing I would say is be really careful about rinsing soap really thoroughly off your hands, especially if you're back at work and you're kind of not using the soap that you might choose and it's slightly cheap and bulk bought and all of that. And the reason is, if you're not careful about rinsing soap, you can get residue on the skin, which causes an irritation, a kind of a dermatitis. So you don't want that to happen. So really thorough rinsing. Once you've done that, in an ideal world, you're going to dry your hands with a paper towel, chuck it in the bin. Dry your hands really, really thoroughly. If there is no paper towel, you can use the hand dryer. Hopefully it's not a shared material type towel unless you're in your own home. I actually sometimes have been known to use toilet paper to dry my hands as well, because I do prefer to avoid using the hand dryers. Just because research shows they don't dry the hands thoroughly. You have a temptation to sort of half dry your hands and then do a bit of that, which isn't ideal. So for me, I do like to use a bit of disposable paper, whether it's toilet paper or hand towel paper. That's what I do. And so you're going to wash your hands on arrival anywhere, and then just wash your hands thoroughly throughout the day. When you go to the toilet, instead of doing your little rinse, just make sure it's always a thorough hand wash. One of the problems that can result from this, however, is that you might experience some dryness and chapping, chafing of the skin. Trust me, nurses, look at any nurse's hands, they've got the hands of a 100-year-old by the time they're about 25, whether they're a man or a woman. And that's because we're always washing our hands. So I think it's also really important to get some hand cream or moisturiser going, and this is for the men as well as the ladies. It's not just about aesthetics, but also what you want to do is avoid the risk of getting dry, sore, cracked hands, because if they're sore and cracked, you're going to want to wash them less because they're going to be uncomfortable. And the other thing is that if the skin is broken, you're actually providing another entryway for bacteria and viruses to enter the body. So double whammy on that one. So actually getting into the habit of moisturising the hands as well, so that this, repeated hand washing isn't going to start damaging the skin health of your hands. That's a really important tip. Alcohol hand rubs. Fine if you're out and about and you cannot get access to washing your hands. There is nothing better than washing your hands with soap and water. That is the golden way of doing it, okay? If you can't do that, you can use your hand gel. The alcohol needs to be between 60 and 90% in order for it to get rid of bacteria and viruses. If you have dirty hands, physically dirty hands, it's not a substitute. So you can only use those gels on visibly clean hands, and it's not as good as washing your hands. What else was I going to tell you? Water temperature, hot or cold, we've done. 20 seconds, we've done. Drying your hands, we've done. And then, like I say, apart from that, I think it's just really trying to retrain yourself. Things like holding the door open for people, such a British thing, isn't it? We're so polite, and it feels really strange not to do that. It feels really rude, but this is the new norm. If you're able to open something with your foot without, falling over and breaking something, then, think of things like that. I sometimes use my key fob to wrap around the back of the door handle and open it with that rather than my hands. So just really being a bit more thoughtful in what we do and how we do it. All very strange, and we have got to train ourselves. This isn't going to come naturally to us, but if we can do it, it will help. And the other thing is kind of just, again, when you're on the tube, when you're on the underground, you don't need to touch the belt of escalator as you're going up, then don't. If you don't need to hold on to the poles, then don't. Just, you know, just be really mindful, but also keep yourself safe. So, hand washing is golden. Water, hot or cold, bar of soap, liquid soap, doesn't matter. 20 seconds. Make sure you use the fingertips, skin between the fingers and the thumbs. Rinse really thoroughly so there's no soap residue left that might start to irritate the skin in the long term. Slap a bit of cream on, whether you're a man or a woman, keeping the skin healthy, okay? It's not about anything else, but really just keeping that skin healthy. And that's about it. That is my tip at 2 today. So tomorrow we're going to be doing another tips at 2, again related to being out and about, keeping you safe when you're coming to see me or when you're going to work, going about your daily business. Tomorrow we're going to be focusing on what you should and shouldn't take with you when you're out and about. Okay, so that's it for today. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back tomorrow.